Welcome back, everyone. I think we should just get started on the meditation. Does anyone have a question about anything that we're doing with the meditation before we start? No. Okay. Then we'll just do it. We don't seem to have very many people this afternoon. I hope I didn't turn them all away. I like to think maybe they're busy, but maybe it's not their cup of tea. Anyway, let's just get started. So everyone has their sadhana. So let's just start by reading the Chandideva's prayer all together. May all beings everywhere, plagued by sufferings of body and mind, obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtue of my merits. May no living creature suffer, commit evil, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled with a mind weighed down by depression. May the blind see forms and the deaf hear sounds. May those whose bodies are worn with toil be restored upon finding repose. May the naked find clothing, the hungry find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth, those weak with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find hope, constant happiness and prosperity. May there be timely rains and bountiful harvests. May all medicines be effective and wholesome prayers bear fruit. May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from their ailments. Whatever diseases there are in the world, may they never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid, and those bound be freed. May the powerless find power, and may people think of benefiting each other. For as long as space remains, for as long as sentient beings remain, until then too may I remain to dispel the mysteries of the world. So then let's just sit quietly for about 5 minutes and reconnect with the with our bodies, with our breathing, and with each other. Just whatever is happening in the mind, just let it be there. Use this time to adjust your posture. can think about our motivation, why we're here. I'm sure we all have a personal motivation to create a better life for ourselves and our families. That's fine. Ultimately, to go beyond this situation of having a body and mind that's controlled by delusion and karma. Along the way, doing what we can to help others. But we ultimately, it's the mind of bodhicitta that carries us. And that mind of bodhicitta comes from, as Kadrula said once to us, she said, to really be successful, we have to develop a disgust for samsara. And that doesn't suit our normal mind very well. And somehow, with this idea of being the Four Noble Truths, of being truthful about our situation, and at the same time, holding hope and optimism that's born out of compassion for all sentient beings. And that, of course, comes from compassion for ourselves. Because when we truly recognize the state of our own situation, then it gives us more empathy for other people. And sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes by being more in touch with other people's suffering, it brings us to recognizing our own situation. But the main point is that most people come to Buddhism because there has to be something more than this world that we have. And I think that's why people turn to religion, and all, especially in the past when it was even worse than today. But I think what interests us also in Dharma is that it's not just a religion, but it's based on kind of logic and reasoning. But for today, we're just going to think about generating compassion for all sentient beings. So let's just take a moment to think about our father and our mother and their lives and what they went through, and their parents and their parents and their parents. And let's just be with that for a moment. We often, just kind of look at the downside of it. But if we think about what their lives were like, then we can begin to wish, even if they're dead, it doesn't matter. They're somewhere, that we want them to be free. We want all sentient beings to be free. We just have to listen to the news, isn't it? And then, of course, if we look at the lower scope of the long rim and thinking about the fact that this is a really amazing opportunity that we have to have discovered the secret of the mind. And if we understand that mind doesn't end with death, if we believe that, if we have some truth and faith in that, then we know that there'll be another life and another life and another life. And what will that be like? Where will we go? What will we do? We concentrate so much on this life, but it's also helpful to think about preparing for the future, and especially when we die, what will give us comfort at the time of death, And we know we don't have to look at the Dharma books to know that our friends can't help us, our things can't help us. The time of death, we're all alone, except for our mind. And so if we have some certainty in the efficacy of tantric practice, we can be comforted in knowing that at the time of death, if we can train ourselves now in bodhicitta, in recognizing the subtle nature of mind, that when the death time comes, instead of it being something fearful, we're going towards something comfortable, a friend, Tara, my subtle mind, the compassion that I've developed in this life. And if we can take refuge in that, then there's nothing to fear. Even if we end up with, a difficult passing due to, cancer or pain, the imprints that we lay down in our lives now will be with us at the death time and in the next life. And so one of the things we are encouraged to do in Buddhism is to think about the long, long term. And that's very difficult for humans to do because we're very concerned about the short-term plans. That's why we have the climate crisis, We don't think very well about long-range plans. We don't plan for the future. But we do have that capacity. And so when we take refuge, we're not taking refuge just for this life alone. And it's not just for future lives either. I mean, sometimes it's helpful to think that my past life person, whoever that was, created the cause for me to have this life, which for most of us is actually quite a good life. And so in a way, it's kind of, we want to continue that progress. And so that also inspires us to take refuge and generate bodhicitta. And we're also inspired by the examples of our teachers who have this kind of spontaneous care and for others, So let's just think about refuge, the causes of refuge, which are wishing to turn away from the mind, body that we have, this limited one, and not in a way that it's a bad thing. It's just limited. We would like more. And being inspired by beings we've met this life, then we have some kind of certainty that by doing these practices, something will change. And when we put a little bit of time in, we begin to see that it does, even in the short term, lift our moods, make us feel better, relax our minds, open us to more compassion. And so for this reason, for all these reasons, we do these practices. And so I'll just read the visualization of Tara in the space in front of us. And we have here in this book, in the space, well, we can just imagine, in the space before us, is this beautiful goddess. And Tara arises, she comes to us because of our request, that we would like to turn our minds towards the Dharma and be like Tara. Become Tara. And in actual fact, we have that potential right here, right now. So I remember Zongsar Khyentse Rinpoche one time said, it's really important to develop a deep kind of longing, aspiration to change, to realize bodhicitta, to realize the path, to realize Mahamudra, to long to understand emptiness, not just understand it, but experience it, to experience this deep, unconditional love for all beings, and to recognize that capacity when people invoke within us some kind of aversion, or disgust or fear, and to be able to remember, oh, this person is actually worthy of my care. And so for these reasons, this transformative capacity of Dharma, we call on Tara to please come to the space in front. And so we imagine this multicolored lotus and a moon, and on it since Tara, our future manifestation, the embodiment of our gurus, the embodiment of all the Buddhas, holder of the realizations of the Dharma, and even on a relative level, our friend, a source of comfort, a source of inspiration and joy. And if we can imagine what it would be like to actually see Tara, and people do, yogis in retreats, they actually see Tara. I remember once, long time ago, Lama Zopa told me that Tara comes to visit him every night in his little room in Kopan, when he had that little tiny room in Kopan. And so we all know, she's green, she's shining light, she's looking at us like a mother looks at her newborn child, and she looks like that everyone is precious. And yeah, she's in the manifestation of love and compassion and the realization of emptiness. Her left leg is gathered in, and that symbolizes the complete control over her winds, over the minds that come from the winds, all the desire and ignorance and hatred and these things. And her right leg indicates that she's there to help all sentient beings. And I think that's why she's special to us. She's special for the Tibetans, and they've given her to us because she is a source of courage and rescue. And I know in my own life, and you hear that in the lives of lamas too, when they're escaping Tibet, and they had some really scary times with the communist Chinese on, with guns and things, that they would pray to Tara, and somehow something would happen when they would be saved, And so she's there always to jump up and help the sentient beings. And her left hand at her heart in the refuge mudra, the thumb and the ring finger touching with the other three fingers raised, is her refuge. And that means she's constantly granting us safety, protection, and the realizations that take us to enlightenment. And her right hand is on her knees, showing the mudra of bestowing the supreme accomplishments, with the thumb and index touching and the rest pointing down. And each hand she holds the stem of an upala flower. And so we can we can all imagine Tara in the space in front of us, and then understanding and generating that longing, we can take refuge. I and all sentient beings, as vast as space, from now until reaching the essence of supreme enlightenment, go for refuge to the glorious pure Lamas. Go for refuge to the perfectly enlightened victorious ones. Go for refuge to the pure Dharma. Go for refuge to the Arya Sangha. And so then we can visualize, imagine this protection as we think to ourselves, this idea of going for refuge by practicing giving and other perfections to attain enlightenment for all sentient beings. And knowing that that ultimate refuge is the realization of the emptiness of my own mind, as much as possible, we focus on that. Not right away, but after we, first let's imagine the nectars and rays pouring in, so we can, if you like, you can close your eyes or keep them open, whatever works best for you, but just imagine that from that, those hands of Tara, those, the granting refuge and granting realizations, freedom from fear, that those pour into us. And in the beginning, you know, we just imagine, but over time it grows and the seeds bear fruit with our aspiration and practice and bodhicitta motivation. So let's just do a little bit of breathing practice and breathing in all the purifying nectars. Almost imagine the cells in your body begin to vibrate. And then you can imagine yellow rays bringing in all the realizations. And then the ultimate refuge is the realization of the nature of mind. So then we just take a moment to sit and look at the mind. Doesn't matter what's happening, but what we want, what we pay attention to is the awareness, is being aware of what's going on in the mind. Those glimpses of mind don't happen that long in the beginning, so then we remember the bodhicitta, and we can read that now. Just the special generation of bodhicitta. Especially in order to benefit all my mother sentient beings, quickly, more quickly, I must achieve the precious state of perfect and complete Buddhahood. Therefore, I'm going to undertake the yoga of the Venerable Aryatara. And one way to kind of get the feeling of bodhicitta is through gratitude. In the Lama Rim, we're taught, remember the kindness of the mother. Well, it finally dawned on me after years that remembering the kindness of the mother is gratitude. So we can have gratitude for everyone. And so then we imagine that from Tara, she strikes our heart and our heart explodes with compassion for sentient beings, and it goes out and touches every single sentient being, beginning with our parents and our friends and family. Thinking I must attain enlightenment for all sentient beings. And for that, I need to generate faith in the practice and turn away from the meaningless affairs of this life. So we can request Tara to please bless me to recognize what's important in this life deep in my heart. And to be able to use every experience to be the cause of Buddhahood. So we'll do a little stabilizing meditation here, where we can use these little simple meditations to begin to recognize our awareness, the ground from which all thoughts and feelings come, this ground of Mahamudra. So when we relax and slow down enough and do something like a breathing meditation, then we begin to experience that ground. And so we can use refuge and bodhicitta for that. So let's just, using our breath, we're breathing in refuge, protection, love, emptiness, and breathing out, we give that to all sentient beings, wishing them to be free from suffering. So we'll read the 4 immeasurables and then we'll stop for a minute and do that meditation. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from the happiness that knows no suffering. And may all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of attachment and hatred for those held close and distant. So then let's just do 5 minutes of meditation. Stabilizing our refuge in bodhicitta. Then we think again, I must attain enlightenment for the sake of all of my kind mother sentient beings. And for this practice, I'm going to enter into the path, practice of Aryatara. Please bless my mind. And so then what comes next is the 7-limb prayer. So wanting to be like Tara, we prostrate reverently with body, speech, and mind. And then we imagine and offer clouds of every type of offering, the outer offerings, all the things that, material things that make us happy and make sentient beings happy, and the inner offering of all of our delusions and, all our delusions and sickness transformed into bliss. Offering the bliss itself and then the emptiness of it all. So we can take a moment thinking like Lama Zopa teaches us, Omo, Omo, making clouds and skies of offerings to Mother Tara. We can just visualize her surrounded by clouds of beautiful, beautiful offerings. And of course, the best offering is our practice. Good, bad, doesn't matter. It's all just as best we can. There's no bad, really. It's practice. It's all practice. If we were good at it, we wouldn't need to practice. So then we generate some regret. And in this point, it's what we do here really is we're just considering the things that we'd like to do differently. That if we look at our lives and we can see the patterns that we have that cause discomfort to ourselves and others. And so according to karma, it's because we've done these things in the past. So we just generate a mind of regret, because this can be a purification practice as well. All those situations, that we found ourselves in where maybe we didn't react in ways that we wish we could, and to pray to kind of root out what causes us to be that way, purify those karmas and change those situations, those inner triggers that we have. So take a moment to think about that. And then we can think about all the wonderful things we have done. I'm sure we've all done some wonderful things, so we can rejoice. Whether it's Dharma related or not, it's still benefiting sentient beings. Even just rejoicing that we decided to come here and practice this, rejoicing in our virtues, in the ordinary, all beings' virtues, and then particularly we rejoice in the activities of those beings like Geshe Lama Kunchok and Yeshe Thubten and Lama Yeshe and His Holiness and Lama Zopa Rinpoche, who realized these teachings and of great benefit to others. So we can, all the past yogis, we rejoice in their activities. And then realizing that Tara is like the subtle manifestation of all of the Buddhas, all of our teachers. Then we request them, you know, understanding that we need them. We need our teachers. We need our Buddhas. We need more Buddhas in the world, to ask them to please stay with us and guide us from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime, teaching in whatever way suits sentient beings, manifesting whichever way suits sentient beings, until all sentient beings are liberated. It's a huge, 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 vast idea. And then we dedicate our virtues to this great enlightenment, to this state of Tara. And in order to create more positive potential for our session and all the future sessions and all our practice, all our lives, we also offer the mandala. And again, if you don't mind, we'll do it in Tibetan because it's nice to chant it. Oh, the ground is blessed with sand and with flowers strewn, adorned. Oh, that's not, sorry. I was spaced out. Let's go back to Tibetan. Oh, I start visualizing, you know, and then I forget what I do. Oh, Saji Puki Chushin Meito Tram Riram Alegini De Yan Padi Sangye Shindu Mite Uai Drokun Nam Dakshila Zopa. Please bless my mind and the mind of all sentient beings to be free from all the wrong views, to gain all the realizations, and to be free from all the obstacles. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami. And then we can recite this homage to Tara. I don't think we'll do the 21 phrases today. This is more about, Devas and Titans bow down with their crowns at your lotus feet. I prostrate to the liberating mother who liberates from all misfortunes. So then we make the request. Venerable Arya Tara, great treasure of compassion, grant your blessings to increase all favorable conditions and to clear away every obstacle, that all migratory beings may swiftly enter the city of eternal joy. Venerable Arya Tara, great treasure of compassion, grant your blessings to increase all favorable conditions and to clear away every obstacle, that all migratory beings may swiftly enter the city of eternal joy. Venerable Arya Tara, great treasure of compassion, grant your blessing to increase all favorable conditions and to clear away every obstacle, that all migratory beings may swiftly enter the city of eternal joy. So if you want, you can take a moment to think about your own personal obstacles that need to be cleared, or for those in your family and friends, and to increase all favorable conditions. And then we also do this for everyone with all of our social and political and environmental obstacles, and to create good conditions for everyone. And there's a special Mahamudra request from the lineage prayer to the Gaelic Mahamudra lineage that goes, may I cut the continuum of self-grasping. May I train in love, compassion, and the mind of enlightenment. And reach the unsurpassable Mahamudra union swiftly through the paths. So then we receive the blessings of Waitara. She's pleased that we care. And so you imagine from the white Om at the crown of Aryatara, white nectars and rays pour into my crown, fill my body with purifying bliss and emptiness. All the mundane karmas of my body are completely purified. And all the tendencies that come, tendencies to harm. I receive the blessings of Aryatara's holy body, and my body becomes oneness with Aryatara's holy body. And then we feel from the red awe at the throat of Aryatara, red nectars and rays pour into my throat and fill up my mind, my body, my winds with purifying bliss and emptiness. And all the karmas of my speech and impure winds are purified. I receive the blessings of Aryatara's holy speech, and the winds are purified. They are purified, and my speech becomes a oneness with Aryatara's holy speech. And just think all those karmas are purified. And then from the blue home of the heart of Aryatara, blue nectars and rays pour into my heart and fill the body mind with purifying bliss and emptiness, where all mundane concepts are purified, particularly the ones that grasp at inherent existence of all phenomena, including myself. So we can take a moment here to purify the mind by recognizing what is termed the object to be refuted. So just take a moment, and we're here, I'm sitting here, and I feel this sense of I'm sitting here looking at that screen, reading this paper, and I feel this and I feel that, and my mind's doing this and my body's doing that, and just kind of keep talking to yourself about I do this and I do that, I, me, my. Until we get a good sense of this me, this my, like I looking at the screen, Such a strange thing. And when we get a sense of that I, if we can kind of hold on to that sense of I, while with a smaller, littler, less powerful or less gross part of the mind, let's just investigate that I. Because it seems real, doesn't it? It seems truly existent. Me, I, someone comes and says, you're this, I'm that, it's a sense of I. So, a little analysis, I'm sure you all know it. That is, if I were to truly exist, and it must be somewhere in my body and mind. So then we look, where is the I in my mind? Where is the I? If it's not in my mind, then I must be somewhere in my body. Like right here in my chest, there's an I. Feels like it. But where in the body is the I? Even the scientists can't find the I. I read a study. They were looking for the I in the brain. They can't find the I. Can you find the I? Traditionally, what we say is, if the I was my mind, then it would be the mind's mind, isn't it? We wouldn't say my mind. My mind means, or my body. It feels then that my I is separate from my body, doesn't it? Because I have a mind and I have a body. So I own my mind. I have my body. So then it's got to be something else, isn't it? So then if the I is separate from the mind and body, where is it? Is it sitting on the other side of the room? Is it hovering somewhere in the ether around? We've all heard this before, If the I was separate from the body, then, when I die from the mind, then I could get up and leave the room and my I would still be here. So where is this I, where is this thing that we cherish and defend and, take such good care of and make sure nobody hurts or defends, or, the one that loves ourselves, the one that hates ourselves, this I can't be found. We're told it's like an illusion. And it kind of makes sense, like a mirage, Have you ever seen one when you're out in a hot day and looks like there's water out there? Or another one is the image in the moon, in the ocean, or a lake. And why is that? Because we have these 6 sense faculties that are registering constantly feelings, taste, touch, smell, thoughts. Thoughts are just another sensation coming through. And because they're coming all the time and we're apprehending them, it appears like there's something constantly that's real, that's solid, that's always apprehending them. But in actual fact, it's like a mirage because it's only manifesting because those momentary causes and conditions have come together for us to apprehend something. But because we're apprehending, it doesn't mean there's something that's there all the time. It's just happening moment by moment by moment by moment, dependently arising, millisecond by millisecond. There's something to apprehend and an apprehender. So another metaphor they use is like if you take an incense stick and go round and round and round and round with incense stick, it looks like there's a circle of fire out there, isn't it? But it's just something that's happening because you're moving so fast. It's the same with I, And the good news about that is not because it's something that we've lost. It's because it's something that's very flexible. You can let go of that grasping. So let's go back to Tara meditation now and look for the I. And just imagine that sense of I just melts into the space of awareness. We have apprehender and apprehending. There's no truly existent apprehender. It's just a tiny little switch, to unswitch, to just rest in the fact that there is awareness and there's clarity. But it's not my awareness. And as the blue light rays coming in, we're being blessed. And then we think that I receive the blessings of Aryatara's holy mind, and my mind becomes inseparable with Aryatara's omniscient mind, unconditional love. Manifesting for all sentient beings. And then all three, or when we get to the point when we realized emptiness, path of seeing, and still some little subtle imprints left over, purifying all those subtle imprints of grasping, of duality. And then again, we make the request to please grant us your blessings, Tara. And then she dissolves into the heart drop at her heart, this bright, brilliant light. And that comes to the crown of our head and enters through the top of the crown into the central channel. And we feel this experience of warmth and bliss and love that's beyond subject and object. Coming through, filling the whole body. And then it comes down to the throat. Again, bliss and emptiness pervading the body, mind. And it comes down and merges with the subtle mind in our heart. And my mind becomes inseparable with Aryatara's holy mind. Then again, I become one with Aryatara. And those of us who can, we can manifest this Aryatara, imagining we experience this great bliss and emptiness. And then from that comes this outpouring of compassion. I think Rinpoche, Lama Zopa Rinpoche uses the word objectless compassion. It just goes out in all directions to all sentient beings. And that subtle drop manifests as a tongue surrounded by the mantra. So from the syllable, so if we have the empowerment, then we manifest this the deity. Otherwise, we just imagine Tara at our heart with the sweet syllable Tam and the mantra around it on this moon and lotus. And as we recite the mantra, we imagine that the light rays reach all sentient beings and transform them into Tara. And all of the area, everything becomes a pure land of Tara. And this light comes back and absorbs into the tongue. And then it goes back out again and makes offering to all the sentient beings as the Buddhas. So we can, it's kind of up to you. People need to find your own kind of personal way of doing that. You can do it all at once. You can do it in stages. You can do it with your breath. Every time you breathe out, the light rays go out and touch every sentient being. And then as you breathe in, it comes back and it blesses you. As you breathe out, all the light goes out and makes offerings to all the Buddhas. And as you breathe in, it all comes back to you. So I find that if I kind of connect my mantra recitation with my breathing, that it becomes much more stable and my mind becomes less dull or less agitated. And if your mind is dull, then you bring the energy to the crown of the head. If it's a little bit agitated, you bring it down into the lower parts of the body. But we just recite the mantra. The most important thing is our bodhicitta motivation. And just paying attention, whether we're distracted or not. If we just pay attention, then that activity of awareness begins to grow. And even though it doesn't seem like it, our experience of Mahamudra will begin to grow just by paying attention to what's going on. So let's give it a try for about maybe 10 minutes. Om Tare Tu Re So. 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 Om Dare 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 Tu Re So. Dare Tu Re So. Om 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 Dare Tu. Om Dare Ju Re Soha. 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 Then for a moment we recollect the intense desire to free all beings. And every single sentient being becomes Tara. And then again from the heart, we make offerings to all those beings of this experience of bliss and emptiness, real or imagined. It's the greatest offering, liberation. And then all the Taras come pouring back into us like snowflakes falling on an unfrozen lake. They just melt into us. And each one comes all the realizations of the path, giving up on this life, caring for every single sentient being, recognizing the mind in its true nature, feeling, experiencing the I as something extremely flexible and not fixed and spacious. Paula Rinpoche taught the previous one that because we don't recognize the clarity of our mind, we perceive an objective out there, what we are perceiving. And because we don't recognize the emptiness, we think there's a subject, an I experiencing something. In actual fact, there's the clarity of the mind. And objects of the six senses appear in this clarity. And because we assent to them as being truly existent, there appears to be a truly existent I. And so the purpose of our meditation is to slow down that process of constantly grasping, grasping, grasping. Appearance, 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 me, me, me. And feeling that space between the thoughts, between the apprehension. And that space, that little gap, we can find that clarity. And the more the clarity grows, the more the objects of our apprehension become less and less solid. And the more and more the apprehension of those, that awareness just becomes pure awareness, no longer me, I, truly inherent, but just simply, dependently arising clarity and awareness, clarity and emptiness. We rest in that for a moment. Then we pray to Tara to please bless my mind so that from moment to moment, I can recognize this sphere of awareness in which objects arise. That rather than seeing them inherently out there and in here, we can experience this ground of mind, this ground of Mahamudra. And slowly, with practice, following this path to the realization of the fruition. Constantly honing our view, our intellectual understanding, and then looking in our mind to find how that conceptual understanding transforms to compares to our experience. So we pray to Tara to please bless my mind to recognize that pure awareness that arises with every moment of mind. But it's so subtle, I can't see it. So subtle, Rinpoche, Lama Zopa Rinpoche always says, so subtle. And then, with our right foot out, wishing to benefit sentient beings, here we are on our Zoom, benefiting sentient beings with our minds and our mental life. And for the rest of the day, we can benefit ourselves and others and this reality that appears to be so real. So let's dedicate whatever taste of the path of enlightenment we've tasted today, that we can use that to be of great benefit to sentient beings and attain enlightenment. Gewadi nyoduda Pagmadro Madrup Gyurne Drowa Chikyam Malupam Dei Sala Gopasho Jangchub Samchog Rinpoche Ma Ke Panam Ke Kyurchin Ke Paryam Parme Paryam Gone Gondu Palbarsho. Just thinking this precious bodhicitta, this liberating mind, may it never diminish and constantly arise and grow. And then the other dedication prayers, we'll do them in our own language. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra too realize things as they are, I do dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by the victorious ones, thus gone of the 3 times, so that I might perform good works. I dedicate whatever virtues I've ever collected for the benefit of the teachings and of all sentient beings, in particular for the essential teachings of the perfect pure Losan Drakpa to shine forever. We also dedicate for pure Dharma to manifest in this life, pure teachers, pure Dharma, free from worldly concerns, and free from the blindness that's caused by the traumatic childhoods that people have these days. That causes us to behave in ways that's totally uncontrollable, even when we have the best of intentions. And for the solutions to climate change and all the political strife in the world that causes so much suffering. And of course, let's not forget our gurus, asking them to please stay and teach us and guide us and to empower us to find our way to enlightenment, because we're all different. We each have our own way to go. And please bless us to find that perfect way to manifest in this life. It's most beneficial that we can use this life to the best of our potential. Like His Holiness does. Gangri rawe korwe shinkam der pandan de wa malu jungwe ne chenre ze wang tenzen gyatso yi shabe si te bardu tengyur ching. And Lama Zopa, our dear Rinpoche. Tub shu shang jin jam gong gelwe tenzen gang belwe kun tu to po se chok sun ku wele mon tu dru pa dag so du je gong du shak ten sho. For all the lives of all the precious beings who are spreading the Dharma around the world, and not just the Dharma, but all the goodness in the world, the good people who are caring about others, but they didn't have long lives and no obstacles. So, any questions or comments before we go?
Yes, it's again me, Geraldine. I would like to know, please, what is the interaction between the correct posture and the whole process of visualizing and reciting the mantra? Is it
What's the connection with the correct posture? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and between the correct posture and the whole process of reciting mantra and visualizing, etc., developing bodhicitta.
I mean, well, that's a whole big topic, but basically the reason why it's important to pay attention to our body is because it's like I said this morning, the mind isn't just up here, you know, or it's not just in our heart. Our mind pervades the whole physical body that we have, and even beyond. I mean, there's levels of our mind that's even out here. And so this subtle mind is the mind that gets activated when we recite mantras. Actually, it's activated all the time. And so the reason we sit in a particular way is to, like with this straight back, but not too tense, you know, and with our legs crossed, is to support smooth, flowing, calm mind. Because this particular posture, particularly with the back straight, because it helps the mind to be clear. And within the clarity of the mind, it helps us not to be sleepy. It helps us not to be distracted. It helps us not to be excited. And so the posture is important for that. And it's also important to, when we are sitting, to not be too tight about it. I mean, we want to sit up straight, but I don't know if any of you know Rinpoche, but he uses the word loosely straight. I like that, loosely straight. So it's straight, but you're not tense. You know, a lot of times, because we're trying to be, you know, sitting in the correct posture, we hold ourselves very, very still. But you see, that causes tension, and as soon as there's tension, then the mind gets tight. And this whole business of recognizing the subtle mind happens in a state of deep relaxation, because that's when the mind isn't going click, 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 you know, this, you know.
Mm.
And so the breathing, the breath and the posture are the most, the best foundations for meditation. And of course, the Hinayana practitioners, you know, Vipassana, they spend a lot of time on that. And I think it would be good for us if we did as well. That's why I at least try to incorporate a bit of that when we take refuge and generate bodhicitta, because when our breathing is relaxed, then our mind is relaxed. And if our posture is alert and our breathing is alert, then our mind stays alert. So then this energy that's flowing through our bodies, it becomes clean, clear, and we have the capacity to actually send it out, you know, we actually do send manifestations out to sentient beings and touching them and bringing them freedom from illness or disturbing states of mind. It actually, there is like, it's sort of, well, you know, Star Wars, the Force, you know, that kind of thing. There is actually something that is like that we experience. That's why when they do studies on prayer, when people pray for sick people, they get better, you know. So it's all connected, the breath and the mind and the body and emotions. It's all one big thing. And it's a very deep topic, you know, that we can go into, but that's just kind of a brief introduction about why it's all connected. And that's why it's important to, I find anyway, in my life, that doing yoga or qigong or some kind of activity that's not just, you know, running or, you know, physical, but an activity that works with the subtle winds and the breath, really helps our meditation and our posture. And you begin to see how sitting properly, you know, we just experiment, you know, you can just experiment. And also, I also tell people too, you know, if sitting is painful, then we don't want that either. And so if it's better for you to sit in a chair, or it's better for you to lie down, if you kind of prop yourself up so you're not going to sleep, then that's fine too. Because the idea is to use the body to promote a clear and stable mind. Is that helpful?
Yes, of course. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Does anybody else have a quick question?
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it appropriate to visualize Tara as a representation or an incarnation of my own qualities and compassion? Or is it inappropriate?
No, she is. That's what she is. Tara is like our future, where we're going for. And so the whole point of what they talk about Tantra, the reason we practice Tantra is because we are bringing our future attainment into the present. So we have a little compassion now. I mean, maybe you have a lot, but whatever you have now, you know you can have more. So what Tara is she is our future. And so we're bringing our future subtle body that will manifest as Tara into the present. So that's a really good question, because I didn't mention that. And so it's really important to connect your own personal experience with your future. And that the point of meditating on Tara is to grow your own. And so that's why when you do the meditations, we really want to feel something. We want to feel the suffering of sentient beings. We want to generate compassion, not just like sitting there reading words, And so however, and everybody's different. I mean, I'm just kind of leading you through things that I do, but when you're on your own, you can take your time to find out what thoughts make you really care, so that you feel that when you're reciting the mantra. Is that you want to ask something else? Yeah, that's a good question. They're both good questions. So, I hope you don't mind me like stopping and talking through the meditations, but I think that's what I'm supposed to be doing. So if that's not what I'm supposed to be doing, let me know. Because I just feel like, anybody can read a sadhana, but it's good to kind of get little pointers about what you do in the sadhana, and what you said, both of the questions are relevant to how we practice. So I think that's probably all the time we have. But if you do have a question, maybe tomorrow when we start, you can let me know what they are, or write them to Arnaud and he can tell me, or something like that. So thank you very much, Nadia and Arnaud, and I hope you all have a good afternoon. And if you want to unmute and just say goodbye, that's always a nice thing to do.
Thank you, Paula.
Yeah. Oh, I see Francis. Yeah, thank you very much. I don't know if you're still there. Hello. Yeah, hello everyone. Hello, old friends and new friends. And so we'll see you in the morning, I suppose, at 10 o'clock French time if you come. Okay, bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Bye.
I really
See you
appreciate it.
tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.